Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be Dirtbag Shit podcast. The DBS podcast. Peace, and welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, and I'm joined by Lower East Side's own Fuquan Jones. What's good?
What's up, Serge? What's up?
I'm chilling, man.
Yes,
Yo, I'm so happy to have you on because we became real acquainted after years of not seeing each other. I used to roll with your brothers, cousins and all that back in the days, Sewer Park, late 90s, and you were always like the young buck.
Right. A few years on me.
Yeah, I got a few years. I got a few grays right here, a little speckled salt and pepper on the, on the majestic lion mane beard.
We see it.
So then I come cross paths with you out on Tompkins Square Park, and I'm thinking, damn, this dude. We follow each other on Instagram. I gotta get him on the podcast because you got a clothing line that you just start to like jump off.
Right.
Tell us about that. What's the name of it?
The name of the clothing line is called MFD, Magic Fantasy Dreams, right? And it was an idea that I probably had in my brain for about 3 years before executing.
Who is MFD? Is the Instagram handle? Now is that the name of the clothing brand too? Or MFD?
Pretty much I go with Who is MFD, paying homage to Alex Trebek. Jeopardy is one of my favorite shows, so it's really the answer.
Gotcha.
So that's why we put it that way. So using the inclusive world of fashion to exhibit our vintage art collection.
Okay.
Then right after it'll be Who is MFD. So you're answering the question that they asking. So we pretty much the answer.
Understood.
Right, so we pretty much the answer.
Yeah, and so when I saw your enthusiasm for getting the clothing line, together and putting it out there, something about your enthusiasm was like captivating to me. And then I bump into you.
Right. Well, I actually found you, and it's good. You post and you do your hashtag, so I'm going through hashtags.
Okay.
And I see.
You saw the dirtbag shit hashtag?
Right, and I seen the hashtags, and that's what got me acquainted and to following you, and this all came after prison. After coming out of prison, I didn't know what to do, but I knew what not to do. Right, so
how long you were locked up for?
I did 5 years altogether. Gave them 10 years. I just finished probation.
Welcome home, man.
Right, and it feels good to be off papers, completely clean, and now you can move how you want to move.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The thing about like someone who's done that amount of time. And, collectively, is that you don't carry the disposition of what most people will perceive as someone who's locked up. Like, you're not antisocial. You got a certain confidence about you. You got a big personality.
Even in there, I had a big personality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Since a young.
I got people that I'm still cool with right now from in there. I was always told, you're going to meet some good dudes back there. And I ended up meeting some real solid brothers,
Yeah.
Bad circumstance to meet them in, but you meet some good solid brothers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some brothers you left there that, they're not coming out.
Right.
That's what I really be thinking when you see brothers that's not coming out.
So how long you been home?
I came home in 2017.
Okay, so you've been home for a minute.
Coming out, I got my GED while I was in prison, right? Because in there you got nothing but time to either do the right thing or the wrong thing. I read everything I could. I'm talking about, I read more books in probably 5 years than I read probably 15 years in the streets. So I'm consuming a bunch of information. And then I came home.
Well, what were some books that popped out?
Naturally, you're going to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right?
Okay.
That's running around in there. There's a lot of hood novels running around in there.
Hood novels are fun.
Sister Soldier, Coldest Winter Ever.
Sister Soldier.
You couldn't beat it. Some good Donald Goines books running around. But
Donald Goines
it was
fun,
whatever you could grab. Magazines. I read, DMX's autobiography, Prodigy's autobiography.
I enjoyed Prodigy's autobiography. Although it came across as a little bit like a little bit fabricated and gossipy, but listen, as a slice of entertainment, I was fully committed to.
Those books,
I finished that shit like in 2 hours.
Like reading DMX's book, he's about to blow. So when you're reading it, and you already know, like, dang, he's about to blow in the book. and just watching it, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So I read a bunch of autobiographies.
It's interesting how we talk about those two different artists, DMX and Prodigy, who are loved, you know, globally, but especially in New York.
Correct.
And those are two very different personalities, but DMX, man, the connection. A lot of people felt like they knew DMX because he left himself very vulnerable, and there's that strength in that vulnerability.
One of my best memories is recording actually up in Rough Rider Studio.
Oh, that's dope.
You know, we got it on the internet, going up there with the team and seeing the platinum plaques, and you just motivated like, wow, X was in here, Kiss was in here, this about to happen, you know.
Word.
That was inspirational being up there and seeing those platinum plaques.
Nice.
Word, it was a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and they have their own thing going on there, everything with the bikes. And it was like an original sound, right? You know, DMX and all those guys, they had like their own sound. It's crazy that they popped off 25 years ago because I still think of them like new and fresh.
Right. X was on fire when we was in high school.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't, and now look, 20 years later, he's not even no longer
And we
with us.
and we always rooted for him.
The music was fire. He had the most people wanting him to get clean. You know, certain people you see him doing the wrong thing, you don't care. But with X, because he on his songs, he talked about it like.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know, so drugs are known for promoting the worst out of people, right? People lie, they steal, they cheat, they do all the shit that's, you know,
associated with
drug use. And granted, he was guilty of a lot of that stuff, but he was always putting himself out there where he was like seeking help, and and then in contrast to that, he had music that showcased that, but then other music that would charge you up, that made you feel like you were invincible. So he was able to tap into different parts.
If you didn't know, you wouldn't know X got right. Like, you wouldn't know he got right. But the music, like that song I'm Slipping, that's a song you can listen to now just to get motivated in life. No, I'm talking about things could be going wrong in life, and it don't gotta be drugs, and you'll put that on like, all right, I gotta get back on my bull.
Right. I mean, there was something about, the lyrics were fire, but even, I don't know if it was a violin, but it was something about the actual music,
the beat was Swiss beats, you know, making them fire. And it was I actually posted something because, you know, you seen a lot of people saying, you know, he knew he was doing drugs, so why we even mourning him? And you gotta say,
I haven't seen
lost
too much
parents.
of that.
Both my parents were addicts, you know, they passed away. So you start thinking like, damn, they didn't deserve to die. As a kid, you thinking what they thinking. But growing up with parents that were addicts, then going into that lifestyle, I see the battle. It's a battle. I done seen people, hey, I'm clean. And you happy? Like me, I was genuinely happy for people when they told you they got clean. I'm not one of those that's like, damn, I'm not going to get their money no more.
Right.
I want you to get clean. Like, there's more people outside. So that was just ill. And like you said, you didn't see too much of it, but you seen a lot of ignorant comments because that's what it really comes down to. You like I told them, you just got to eat other people's ignorance. Everything don't got to get commented on. You don't got to go crazy. You know, I seen it. I didn't make comments on it. I just addressed to my own self because, you know, I had parents that passed away.
Yeah.
That was full-fledged addicts, HIV, you know, and I then overheard stories I wasn't supposed to hear, you know, which was bugged out.
Yeah. You know, I have a very similar, story with my father. You know, he passed away of AIDS and, he used and sold drugs. And there is a stigma that's always going to be attached to that. There's always going to be a stigma that's attached to that. And you said something, and I'm glad that you brought that up because you posted something on your Instagram showing, the word empathy. It's such a powerful thing because we could dismiss it. Right? We could dismiss it as, junkie, this, that, and the third. But you got to understand that it's a disease and it's a very powerful disease.
Not enough people look at it as a disease. I think a lot of people look at it as a choice.
It's your choice.
I think a lot of people look at it as a choice, which comes with the lack of empathy. Because like I said, when somebody passes away from diabetes, we don't say, oh, man, they should have stopped with the sugar.
It's a great
empathize
point.
And, even high blood pressure. We don't say, oh, you should have not, the fat and this. It's just respect for the dead, like, high blood. And we know there's all things they could have did to avoid that, but you just respect the dead. I feel addiction has to start getting looked at like that also.
Yeah. What is it about, I think the thing about addiction is because of the behavior that's attached to it.
But it's the behaviors you see.
Yeah.
99, I was probably say 99% of addicts, probably 98
keep to
or
themselves,
95,
low
are
key.
working people.
Yeah.
So you see the worst of the addict, and now you put that on all addicts.
Right.
Right? That's what people see, the worst of the addicts when...
Yeah, because I'm sure there's some diabetics that be wilding out.
Like I had dentists, doctors, teachers.
Right.
And it's shocking you. Like, it's like, yo, this lady teaches kids Monday through Friday? But on the weekend, you know, I don't know if you caught it, that doctor that was talking about the safe havens to do drugs. And to me, he made
Do you
a good
remember the
point.
name?
They had him on one of these podcasts the other day.
Was it Dr. Carl Hart?
Black dude?
Yeah, with dreads? Yo, dogs.
What he
I'm
said
getting
was
goosebumps
so
that you bringing it.
Interesting to me because that's a fact. Everybody don't want to stop doing drugs.
Yeah.
Everybody,
And some people can handle it.
right?
I'm not one of those motherfuckers.
Right. I mean, there's functioning people that do it, work Monday to Friday, Saturday party, Sunday bring it down, and back to work Monday.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw the clip to that podcast, so fun that you bring that up because I saw this clip, and this guy, he's a doctor. Sorry, my bad. He says that he, used heroin and cocaine recreationally. Talking about how, you ever hung out with your significant other on cocaine? It's a great time. And I guess he has the personality to do it. Or maybe most people are like that. Or maybe the drugs I did just kind of, because I just remember it feeling like gross and stepped on. He probably gets pure shit that you can fucking go to sleep
like
on
he
and
said,
wake up.
I'm getting the best stuff.
Right.
Once they stop it at the border, they're giving it to different schools to do tests. And so, but the point of those safe havens, and like I said, I'm not saying DMX would have used it, but at least it would have been available for him to test that. He knows there's no fentanyl in it. He's still here today. A lot of people wouldn't probably use those resources, but it's things you got to do too for your own health and your own safety. If you're going to play that way, because like he said, this is America, and if you're not bothering nobody, why can't I get high on a Saturday? I ain't bothering nobody. This is what I choose to do.
Yeah, because the fact that the reality is that they're not interested in getting people better. It's so much money
and
jailing people and criminalizing that sort of behavior. I mean, they're doing, a lot of these people who are criminalized for that sort of behavior are doing free labor in jail.
And now it's even crazier because now they got bud, right? So now they selling bud.
That is wild.
And they done put people away 10, 20 years for reefer.
Especially if you don't have money. You would get locked up for something like that and do an incredible amount of time.
I seen people do massive time for 9, 10 cracks where my brain is like, yo, that's impossible. But
and these
that
are people,
system is you don't want to get caught up in that.
You don't want to get caught up in the system, and it could be it's real unjust.
But it's so easy doing the wrong thing is so easy. Me staying consistent with these clothes is hard.
Yeah.
Why? Because selling drugs is just so easy. This is hard to me. I never did this. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, doing something I never did, which I guess for everybody, when you're trying something new, it is difficult. Yeah. Many times my brain relapses.
That's the exciting part of it.
My brain relapses. Like, let me just grab something. Rent is about to be due. I'm going to stress my brain or make something happen real quick.
Wow.
And those are times you talk to, you get that negative self-talk out of there. And you be like, nah. Because what I learned is people are buying, they buying this, but they buying the trust in you that you're going to keep something going. So if they thinking, all right, he's still hustling, this is not going to even be around in 5 months. Why am I buying for? Mm-hmm. People want to be a part of something. So what they really buying is my trust. And I think about that to stay on the right path. Like, people might not think I do, but what people think of me comes into my brain positive-wise to not do negative things. Working with the kids, coaching basketball, I love that. And I seen on a show, 50 Cent show, For Life, they be playing music in the background. And one of the things somebody said, you can't be in the streets and positive. That's a contradiction. And it just stuck with me. I seen that a year ago. But it just stuck with me. Why? Because I'm like, I could tell these kids to go to school all day. But if I know I'm fresh from hustling, then I'm really lying to them. You ain't gonna get this from going to school.
Yeah.
If that's what I'm doing. So I chose to remove myself completely. That way I am being real with them. Like, yeah, you can get like this from going to school. You know what I mean?
That is powerful because there's a certain energy that's attached to you living by your words.
Right.
You know, you're not bullshitting.
And then it's you personally. Like,
you're moving around differently. Your words have a little more conviction and weight towards it. And, you know, I don't give a fuck if the kid is 5, 15 years old. They know, they can feel like an honest, you know, like.
just like when we was younger, we could tell who was going, and even if you didn't know about hustling.
Yeah.
You don't start out knowing
It's
about
intuition.
hustling. You just know these guys are outside all day. This father goes home all the time. So you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it just, that's why, you know, mothers, fathers, there ain't no right or wrong way to this parenting stuff. I had the best mother in the world. You know what I mean? I had the lady that adopted me was the best in the world. She adopted 12 of us.
Yeah.
You know, to keep us from going to foster home. She said, no, I'll keep y'all all together.
So the one that, the mother that adopted, she eventually succumbed to drugs?
No. My real parents succumbed to drugs. And that's how I got with the adopted
Understood,
lady.
got it.
And she adopted 12 of us. Because when crack hit, not only was my mother messed up, but her sister was messed up. And not only was this sister messed up, the other sister was messed up. So she took in 3 families of kids, 3 parents. My mother had 3. My other cousin mother had 2. But then one of my cousins, their moms had 9. All, you know, born addicted to the drugs. So she took 7. Her daughter took 2.
Okay.
And that's how we all stood together. Like, the lady was amazing. I tell people even now, out of 12 of us, let's say, nobody's away doing life in prison. We don't have no rapists, no murderers, and to each his own. I'm just saying how she raised us. Probably 6 of us went to college. 4 of us completed. Everybody's working now. Ain't nobody sitting at the top of the food chain, but ain't nobody went the other route either. So to me, she did a perfect job. Raised men.
You told
know
her
what I
that
mean?
recently?
She passed away, but guess
long-
what?
how long ago
she
did she
passed
pass
away
away?
in 2013.
Okay.
But guess what? You know, I'm locked up, so I write a letter to her, and I'm so thankful that I wrote this letter, just explaining to her, like, Ma, I'm not here because of you. You know, because a parent will start feeling like, damn, what I did that my boys ain't. And so I needed, and I stressed that in the letter, Ma, you did the best job you could have did. Thank you for everything. This is not your fault. Whatever she told me came to fruition. She told us at 10, 12, I want y'all to do the right thing now. So years later, y'all don't got to tell me, damn, Ma, I should have listened. And guess what I had to tell in the letter, though? Damn, Ma, I should have listened.
Yeah.
You know, so she seen it. Like, the lady was wise. I had a wise mother. You know, probably not the smartest, book wise, but wise and wisdom and street smarts and being a man and holding doors for older people. Like, this is how we was raised. And I'm talking about we out there hustling 100 miles an hour. But when we see old ladies with bags, we gonna help them upstairs. There was parents that told us we let the kids go to the store because we know you're outside. And they know what we up to, but we just, you know, it's a certain, if you live in that lifestyle, you can't be it all the way. You don't want the people scared to come in the building, out the building. So that was one thing we knew, like, all right, if we could keep it safe here, we'll be able to do our thing here. Which, that's how it ended up going. And sometimes I think about that lifestyle and, you know, you relapse and you you like, damn, I want my life back. And then sometimes I don't mind the life I'm going into right now.
Yeah, I think you know, that's the thing. I mean, when you rid yourself of drugs, whether you're using or selling, there is a certain trauma that's kind of attached to it. It's a certain, you know, fulfillment that goes away with that. You know, whether it's money making or a euphoric high, whatever it is, it becomes like part of your life. And you know, you're not given. You know, when you abstain from that sort of life, you're not given, you know, anything. You got to start back up. You know, it's not like people, you know, oh, you stop doing this, so you get this, that, and the third. It feels good to know that you got that sort of control back, but you really are kind of building it back up.
Because all you got is memories.
Right.
That was my lifestyle since a kid. You know, from 15 up until going to prison in 2012, that's all I did. So you think about the memories and the lifestyle.
I mean, your whole
and
network of friends, family, people you
And
interact with.
I done had to leave those people alone. You know, when I coming out, I went cold turkey just because. All right, see, I would tell my therapist, and she would be mad at my friends, but I would have to let her know, this is their way of looking out. Like when I tell her my friends offered me drugs, she understand that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, like hold this pack,
But
I got
in her
you.
brain,
Yeah.
she's like, but they just seen you do 5 years for the same thing. That's why I say the hood dynamics is bugged out. We could see somebody come home from 10 years and still give them work that could get them another 10, 20 years, but that's considered looking out. Which to not do it is to be, you know how that goes. Son, ain't look out for me. You know, so she didn't understand it. I would be like, but it ain't on them. It's on me. It ain't on them. It's on me to have the discipline and see if I could say no or just result back to, you know, like this past Christmas, it was rough. You gotta understand, I got my own company. I don't do nothing else. I chose to stop cold turkey and just say, all right, I'm going to just focus on this. So, you know, Christmas come around, daughters don't understand all of that. Papa, it's Christmas, you know? And when you make it happen, that's when you're like, oh, I could do this. So getting through that Christmas, you know, because I just started the company in September. So getting through your first holiday where this pays the bills and you did it, makes you say, all right, I could do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it kind of it maintains that enthusiasm.
right. Reassured you that I can pay the bills this way and provide extras because, you know, Christmas gifts, that's extra. Me, the bills are paid, we straight. Compra, good. Christmas stuff, that's extra, but I was able to do that. In that, I said, all right, we're going to do this because I know this could take me further than the streets is ever going to take me. I don't got it in me like I had it at 15 to stand on blocks 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't got that in me. But I got it in me I know if I infiltrate this world, what'll open up for me because I know the personality I have. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to infiltrate this positive world with them same opportunities that would open up, all right, a key in the negative world, 30 grand, all right? So I want opportunities to open up like that in the positive world. And you got to work to that. I'm not one of these people that think it's happening tomorrow, just like it didn't happen like that in the streets. And I think that's what helps me with business-wise because the parallels are the same, the streets and the real world. In school, I'm getting straight A's because the language was different, but the concepts was the same concepts I learned outside, that I taught myself outside. Now I'm just understanding like, oh, all right, that's why I had black bags instead of red bags. That's why I had this instead of that. Little, you know, the 4 P's, price, product, positioning. You like, oh, you didn't know you was doing that outside, but when you sit back and you're like, oh, all right, so there was classes, I'm getting the best grades in class, fresh out of prison. I'm with young minds, fresh out of high school. That are not more reassurance that you could do this.
Yeah.
I never thought about going to college. It wasn't a part of what I was doing at that time.
That's super interesting, man. I have a feeling that this is not some sort of spiritual awakening that happened recently. I think there was seeds that were like planted a long time ago, and that might have been from your mom. Yeah, I don't know.
See, me doing like we spoke about, doing
like I think when
was
you were
so
when you were
easy.
hustling, like I think you like you.
My mother didn't play hustling.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I have a feeling like your head was on different. Like you probably maneuvered a little different. Like there's something about you that seems very mature, and that
We was raised with a lot of us. I'm one of the older ones, not the oldest, but one of the older ones. So it was on me to figure out how we gonna eat, the older ones. You know, like mommy has 12 of us. If you're not rich, there's no way to keep 12 kids looking the way they want to look. Yeah, we got clean clothes, but these are didn't. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My brain is like, nah. Everybody got Avirexes. What am I doing? I got to get Avirex. Everybody wears Timberlands. Like, what am I doing? So the neighborhood, and it comes with the neighborhood we live in, we don't look at it as, unfortunately, sniffing coke as a problem. majority of the people I'm around, the older people, that's what they do. We don't look at them with no malice. So that's why even over there hustling, it wasn't even like he was doing wrong. The old ladies don't bother you. The older men's respect you. The police don't bother. The neighborhood is quiet. No violence. No Asian people getting robbed. No, so you didn't even see like he was doing something wrong. And then as you start getting older, because like I said, I'm in it at 15. As you getting older, now your brain don't even think about stopping. I remember...
It's like automatic. It's like
me and one of my
day.
friends, we talked about it. He asked me, and this is before we go to prison. He like, yo, you ever gonna stop hustling? Because he had transitioned out the game. Like, hell no. Like, what for? And then he always tell me to this day, like, damn, bro, to see you out the game, knowing that we had that convo and you had no plans of stopping. But like, one of my therapists, she used to get me out of glorifying.
See, that's another thing. Let me just stop you right there. The fact that you seek a therapist, which is I think is super like smart and important, because when there's a certain lifestyle that we're a part of, we got to understand why we partake in this lifestyle. And, in black and white, we know, I need money. That's like black. And
right, that's the easy answer.
Yeah, I need money for food, clothes, and shelter, right? That's like but it gets more, there's so many layers to it, right? There's so many lives that are impacted by it. And all that stuff, all those layers need to be pulled back in order, I think, to get the true understanding of why we do or why we do not, So it's like, we know the consequences, but they have to get a good understanding of the impressions that it leaves behind on both sides. I think therapy, talking about it, being honest about it, is a super important way to go about it and uplifting yourself. Forget about everyone else, just as yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get a broader understanding.
I learned a lot about myself. I learned my thinking errors.
We got patterns too.
I learned what I struggled with, because I was still, even coming home, still had some of those same struggles. But now, the finances ain't there. So now, you're not feeling as good about yourself. Like, like I said, I was one of the older ones out of the 12. So when your little girl cousins that was raised like your sisters hit you up for $25, $50 and you don't got it, now that's playing on your brain like, damn, I don't got it for my little sisters. Now you like, yo, I got to do something. Like I got to do, because I just was never used to not having. I wasn't used to it. I went into prison with the same mentality. You wouldn't have thought I was locked up, because now you're already back there, so you're just going with the motions.
Well, what gets you over that? Like if your confidence or your ego feels bruised because you don't have...
I knew I was struggling with sentimentality. You know what I mean? Like...
With a what mentality?
Sentimentality. Yeah. Not being able to do for others. So then you got to say, all right, how that makes you feel. So once you start feeling all right, how that makes you feel. Makes me feel less than, and, I'm not a man, and, what I felt for me. And then, she provides you with treatment plans to help you get over that. I knew I was going to need somebody to speak to go from having money since you was 15 to not having. To go from living a lifestyle since you were 15, and now that lifestyle is just, you can go back into that lifestyle if you want to. That's just not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what it came down to, and you said it earlier. Addicts, hustlers, it's the same addiction. Like, we chasing the same addiction.
Yeah, and I guess someone who's interested in, and I'm the same way about a whole other world. And when we subject ourselves to certain lifestyle, it shrinks your world. And we may entertain things outside, venture out to different avenues. But make no mistake that you're never addict, to pusher. Like, you're never going to be able to reach the full potential. And what that goes back to your point. Once you're in the street, it contradicts anything that you want to do, as an entrepreneur outside of street stuff. Does that make sense?
Like, say I come out and I'm still active. We don't bump into each other at the park.
Right.
You feel
Or
me? Even if I'm doing this half-ass and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hustle on the side, us bumping into each other in that park is slim to none if I'm engaging in other activities. But doing all
100%.
positive, I could go sit in the park in the morning time.
Right.
I don't, you know what I mean?
100%, it shrinks all the opportunities. And the thing is, we don't see that.
You don't even know it.
But yeah, you don't know when you're bullshitting. But when you pull yourself out, so many more opportunities arise. And I'm telling you, it's simple things as, and I'm not even talking about material, I'm talking about the energy of someone being able to, respect you, have confidence in you, trust you. That trust. That's just huge.
That trust.
I remember, and this goes, like this, the confidence of being able to look at someone in the eye and have, not that shady, you know.
I'm up to something.
Yeah.
Contemplating something.
Yeah, or just not feeling good, and you can feel bad about the mundane, trivial shit that we all go through in everyday life. But there's something real hard about knowing that you're doing something that's unhealthy for you and still partaking in that. And knowing, like, this is the reason why I can't move past this. I can't get to the next level in my life because I got this obstruction, this hurdle that I keep on falling over. And it's okay to fall over and over, but we got to figure it out.
And that's what it comes, what you just said. Not knowing, right? So at 15 coming into the game, I don't know. Then you just in it. That's like a baseball player. He don't starts off, not too good. Then he learns baseball and he's good for the rest of his career. You get in there, you don't know what you're doing, the ups, the downs, the hurdles, the pitfalls. But you win it so much that you don't even see those pitfalls or hurdles no more. Like I didn't even see them. You in that lifestyle so much that what other people is doing is wrong. Like only in the neighborhood or where we come from, where you look at murder as not that bad.
Yeah.
Like we don't look at murderers as that bad of people. Rapists, who knows? But a murderer, many of our childhood friends done did them. Home, you shake their hand like.
Yeah, you see, you humanize it because you understand the intricate circumstances.
And that's what it is. You humanize it.
Yeah.
Like people that we go try to speak to other people about, they're like, what?
I know, and it's weird when you're subjected to that world or whatever, and then you like years later in retrospect, I look back, I'm like, damn, that wasn't. That's seeing those things is out of the normal for a lot of people. Seeing people be killed, people heavy on drugs.
It's not normal,
right?
Right, but we around it so much that it's normal. It's normal, like you said. Like there's people that you tell some of your friends, like what? War zone.
It took me years to realize that wasn't normal. I was like, oh shit, that wasn't normal.
Same here, and this is what you teaching yourself. Like I'm teaching myself, like homicides that's not what normal people are subjected to. We just so happen to be it, so you roll with the punches a little bit more. But when like things like that ain't normal. So being removed from that lifestyle, and you're never too far removed. I don't live in a mansion, I'm in the neighborhood. It's you that gotta have the discipline. It's me when those phone calls come through for negative. I gotta.
Well, on a hard day, what tools, what a collection of ideas keeps you, because motivation only lasts so long. So it is discipline. What keeps you focused?
Honestly, it's really not wanting to go back to prison. I've been with the wife 18 years. The daughter's 14. The other daughter's 16.
So it is kind of consequential thinking, knowing if I fuck up.
This is the family. Like this, she got with me when I was in it, so it ain't no telling me to stop. But now you're not in it. Now I could tell you go to prison again, I'm leaving. Whether she do it or not, but just that thought even being in your head, you like, and I just don't want to do it no more. That's what I tell most people. Me, I just ain't want to do it no more. I could do it today, leave here and go make it happen.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it no more. And the more I'm away from it, the more where Christmas time come and I'm in a bind, I won't even think it. See, this first Christmas just passed, I thought it. Like, damn, let me get something real quick. The more you in it and remove, now your brain will just say, you know what, I got to get more socks or get more hats.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, Christmas, that sort of capitalistic holiday, granted, we'll look at
kids.
that. It's for kids.
I wasn't raised with, and my daughter, she understand, I wasn't raised with none of this stuff.
Right.
My mother didn't play none of this stuff.
But like, you being there for your family, that's way more important than fucking one
holidays.
single day, right?
No, that's a
but
fact.
that's the change of thinking we got to go. And I'll say, I remember, and this is the paradox, right? I remember removing myself from using, from drinking or doing drugs. That I just felt like, how am I do how am I gonna? I did stand up and I was sober, but then I became involved in this world. Like, it got so real that I was like, damn, how do I even fuck without drinking?
Right.
And like, how do I, I was, so how do I go to social events without that shit? And that you got to retrain yourself. But you're never far removed from your true self.
You're never too far removed.
You never. It feels uncomfortable.
Thoughts, because not every thought from that lifestyle is a bad thought.
Right.
Some of them thoughts will take you, and I seen the study. I wish I could tell you the study. It was the power of the brain, right? So they strap somebody, the sensors on somebody's body, and they had them run the race to see what muscles are activated, stuff are activated in the brain. And then they had somebody sit in a chair and run the race in their head, and it triggered the same sensors that it triggered when he was running.
That's interesting.
You feel me? So that's how crazy the brain is. He was sitting down and just thinking about the race, it was triggering the same senses. So when you think about that lifestyle, you gotta calm yourself down. You gotta take yourself a step back.
That is it. That is super interesting, and also understanding. Now, that study alone kind of left that impression on you, or the collection of therapy, just being a smart guy and all that kind of.
It's a collection.
It's a collection of it, because I don't think people always get it. Because I remember, if you're involved in a certain lifestyle, you gotta understand. We talk about it like, oh yeah, I might have sold drugs to get money, right? I might have did drugs because I want to, hang out with girls or whatever. Right. It was just part of a party lifestyle. But the fact of the matter is, there's a ritual that's also attached to it. The element of danger is exciting. The element of status, of being involved in a certain community. You're removing yourself from a network of people that you looked at as protectors, you looked at as friends, you looked at, comrades, all these different placements. Those voids that become apparent when removing yourself from a lifestyle can be restored with real shit. And the endorphins that I might have gotten from using drugs or drinking, or you might have gotten from, some whatever, that it could be restored through running, through boxing, through training, through designing the new fucking hat for next season, to meeting with somebody, because it's all the same, part of the same journey. It's like there's a place you go to, and there's like, oh, that was exciting, that first step. And then there's a second step, there's a third step. And it never fucking stops.
No, this is lifelong learning, lifelong battles.
And we have to remind ourselves how far we've come, And I say that generally speaking, what our individual lives, but everyone does. People forget that.
But individually, like you said, you sometimes, which we don't do it, because the only people that get rewarded is kids. Sometimes you don't give yourself that pat on the back, and nobody else is going to give it to you. So you just going through life like, damn, I'm not even doing much. Nobody tells me good job or, yo, that was dope. And you start believing that. So people just, like she said in the movie, are you living or are you existing? I could have stood hustling and I would have just existed in that world. Because it would have said he was born and then I died and I left nothing behind. And those things like that is what I'm thinking about also, like being adopted, but also knowing my real family. The furthest I could go is to my grandmother. I can't tell you nothing about my great-grandmother. I need that to be different going forward. I need 100 years from now, they say great-great-granddad gave this to grandma and that's how we got it. I want to start being a part of that conversation now.
Yeah, that's the human responsibility. It's evolving.
And we ain't know, I ain't know, brother, I didn't know it was on me to get my family out of poverty. I didn't know that. You don't know your mother's poor. Like, I didn't know she was poor.
And you know what?
Bills was paid.
It may
food
not
was-
even be poverty. We're talking just the evolution of the mind and how we treat others and how we look at the world, how we perceive the world. Because the fact of the matter is, guys who grow up in a certain areas like us are looked at a certain way. Whether we want to admit it or not, we forget. But, people from the outside in immediately there's a label that's attached to it, and it's our responsibility
To change that label.
to remove that veil and be our truest selves. And our truest selves are strong motherfuckers because we get the best of those both worlds. Like, we're
Our
knowledgeable.
truest self is I'll take my building. Or you take any building. Any project. Less than 1% of the people there are engaged in criminal activity. But it just looks like everybody's engaged in criminal activity. When we both live there, we know, man, the majority of this building does nothing. The majority, but it don't look like that. You see, there was times the police, because we right there by the precinct. Some of them would tell us, yo, I don't want to see y'all here tomorrow. I don't care where y'all at, but there's no way I'm gonna go to work, see y'all, leave from work, see y'all, come back to work, see y'all. Some of them used to be like, yo, tomorrow y'all can't come outside. Or don't be right here. Because to us this is normal, but to them this is not normal. And that's the thing the kids got to start seeing. Like, that's not normal. When there's more stuff for them to do, there's not enough stuff for them to do for a couple reasons. We was all taught, you get the money and you move away. Nobody knew to put businesses there. Everybody was taught, you get the money, you move away. So now there's no resources in the neighborhood. There's nobody, we don't even have it to volunteer to teach the kids tennis, or boys clubs was there to teach you pool, ping pong. They don't got none of that. They don't have none of that. So it's getting rougher for the youth, guys like myself and other guys that aren't actually doing it, the Pupas of the world, the Sams of the world. Like, they really doing the work.
When you say Pupas and Sams,
Pupa has a tournament that his own blood, sweat, and tears.
okay, so
It's a
okay,
basketball tournament.
got it.
His own blood, sweat, tears, money. He been doing it for 9 years.
That's awesome.
Kids come, play basketball, feeds them after. Why? Because he remember playing basketball, how starving you are at the end of that game. So he buys the food. Like, Sam, I can do better.
And that's still going on to this
Yes,
day.
the tournament starts next week. I got a team in there. The
that's
tournament
what's up.
starts next week. Got a team in there.
After the show, I want a little more information on
Hopefully we can win finally. I told my nephew, like, you got to win, son. Can't keep losing this cash. You got to finally bring a championship home.
Yeah.
So, and there's a few other things I do. Like, I try to work with the people that's motivating me. These guys we all the same age. They know the lifestyle I came from, where I'm trying to go. I appreciate when they call me, instead of getting that. I got certain people that call me just to see if I'm ready to do bad, And then they bring their friend. And to me, I still look at them as a friend. But I literally have people to call me and be like, oh, you still doing those clothes? You're not ready to come back on this side? And I'm like, nah. And you got some people that'll be like, stay away from them. Now, I need them around just so I could be even more motivated. Somebody think I can't do this? All right, I'm going to have to show them I have discipline, which is something I learned in prison. I had no discipline.
Your stay at prison, were the times where it got violent, or was it like a smooth enough ride? It was just like you didn't like the isolation away from your family, or was it like everything that we hear about in jail?
See, there's levels to prison. And I was in the feds, so there's levels to that. You got camps. Camps is for people that's doing 10 years or less. You have lows. Lows are for people doing 20 years or less. You got mediums. That's people, 20 and over. And then you got maximums. That's kill or be killed. I was in a low, so it was easy, but naturally there's days it happens, rapings and, the regular stuff that's going on in prison. number two things you got to know in prison. Don't, mind your business. Don't owe no money. If you could do those two things, the majority of problems come from those two things. It don't matter the race. If you owe money, either y'all going to do something to him because he's your race, or we got to do something to him. And then now that's, color on color. You understand what I'm saying? So, it ain't even the horror stories. To me, the real horror stories is when you see somebody get 55 years. That's the horror story. When you see somebody get 40 years, or a dude you was with the last 12 months, he got 3 life sentences. And you but something somebody told me, and everybody knew what they was outside doing. So at any given time, you know what you're doing, what it could get you. Any given time playing outside, I always knew I was a federal person. I always knew that's the only people that's gonna come for me will be the feds, because that's how we playing outside. So, you think about those dudes come to my mind a lot. Keeps me from going back there, because that's a warehouse for people. That's all them things are to me, is warehouses. They just got people in it. That was my first time going to prison, eyes wide open. Even though I'm with my peoples, they took 13 of us. We went down on a conspiracy, and your eyes is just wide open. Not to them, they already did bids. For me, I'm fresh. But it was a smooth bid nonetheless.
Did you find there was opportunities in prison to better yourself, or they were real restrictive and they didn't make it easy? If you wanted,
like I said, I got my GED back there. If
someone wants to,
there's people that's coming home with their electrician,
certificates and shit like that.
And it's a yes and a no. You gotta rehabilitate yourself. Yeah. They are not doing the rehabilitation. Like I said, I just read. It was nothing else to do but read.
When I was younger, my mom always instilled reading in me. And remember, there was a book called Invisible Man. You ever heard of it?
I think I heard of it. I never read it, though.
The first page, she wrote something along the lines where it was Sergio, in this world that could be made up of chaos and beautiful things, you'll never be alone if you have your books. Continue reading your books. And I'm kind of butchering it. It wasn't that, but that was the gist of it. Yeah. And I go through my little, I go through my spiritual reading, but when I read, it opens my world to a whole different world. And I'm able to internalize other lifestyles, other emotions or whatever, which allows me to be I feel more of a complete human being. Whenever I feel anxious, or I feel it's all about me, or I feel, that shit brings me peace and tranquility, a good book. And it could be
Nothing
a book.
like it.
It could be a book about violence.
Nothing like a good book.
Yeah, man.
Some books I read, The Richest Man in Babylon. I probably read that once every 3 months, 4 months.
And that's what I'm saying.
Just to keep grabbing those concepts that's in there. That's probably one of my favorite books. But a good book, and there's books that I had no business liking. I wish they would all come to my head, and then you start reading these little novels, you're like, yo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So reading does open up the brain.
Yeah, and I wish I would do more of it. And I could tell when I'm not reading enough because I'm not able to articulate myself as clearly. I just feel like I'm stumbling and bubbling, or maybe, I'm just overthinking it. But when I read, I just feel a lot more sharper, articulate, and clear with the fucking message at hand.
No, certain little things I never did, I do them so often, and reading is one of them. I wouldn't, like they said, if you read, I think one book a month, that's more than probably 95% of the population.
Yeah, I feel like people, and I gotta read physical books.
Right.
I like to turn the pages. I like to smell the book. If I read on my iPad or on my phone, it doesn't.
I don't have the same feeling. See, I'm active, so I like listening. I like audio books.
Yeah,
I like audio books. Listen to them a few times.
Yeah, so if it's a hyper political book, which I'll get into every now and then, reading it. And I think you heard me saying this earlier. I'll be reading the same page over and over. What the fuck am I? Right. I can't digest this. I'm not able to process it in a situation like that, like I was reading shit. It was a book about Puerto Rican history. I forget the name of it, but it was just a lot of jargon and words. I was just like, this shit's too political. That in the audio,
right,
I was able to because it was someone telling me the story, and it was funny because it was like some dude with like an Australian accent. Like, this motherfucker has no business
That's
talking
the
about.
ones with the accent.
Why is it that we always believe a motherfucker with that like an Australian
Right.
or European accent? Like, yeah, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, the accent ones get me, but nothing like a good book.
Yeah,
Nothing like a good book.
for sure, man.
Especially in this climate and all sorts of climate, the political climate, the police climate, the hip-hop climate.
Yeah.
Rappers are
What are you
the
saying?
ones that's not passing away naturally are being murdered like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know what space hip-hop is in right now, and it's in a good space money-wise, number one genre, but lifestyle-wise it's just bugged out right
it's
now.
upside down. It's upside down. It's always been like this, but I think, because social media is relatively new, people's actions to promote are
Extreme.
and we're seeing the repercussions to that. I mean, I said this on the last episode, maybe 2 episodes already, but what seems jarring to me, or what stands out to me, is that if you look as far as like a monetary value, what's boxing, what's creating like a lot of money is a guy like, and a lot of noise is a guy like Jake Paul, who's not necessarily a boxer, but it's like just the circus of it.
Which is bugged out, right?
It's bugged out, right? Even rapping, one guy who, a guy like Tekashi, like these are the kind of figures that attracts a lot of noise. And it's all pretty much the same format, the same concoction, the same.
Social media, like they say, everybody has a mic, and some people don't know that you don't got to respond to everything.
Right.
People respond to any and everything.
But it doesn't define it as a whole. It's just what we talked about, one small percentage, right? But that's what's creating the most noise.
And hello, like you said, it's a miniature percentage.
I'll be irresponsible if I was to say that, the YouTuber fighting an MMA guy creates that's one percentage of it. There's a whole.
But since that's a bigger draw than the other MMA.
Yes.
Like they said, Mayweather is about to steal the thunder from Teofimo Lopez.
Right.
And he's fighting, not saying Teofimo's fighting a top-notch boxer that he shouldn't beat anyway, but at least it's 2 boxers. Whereas, like you said, Jake Paul, millions of followers, Mayweather, it's just, you hear it, June 5th.
It's always going to be like that. And I just, you have to understand that if you doing your own research, being curious about it, you'll discover more. So I think it's good to drive people in, but people have to take the initiative to explore and do their own research. If they want to watch a real fucking dope boxing match with a story development, it's all there, but it requires a little curiosity, not something that's in your face all the fucking time.
And if you just want to be entertained, you're going to watch the Mayweather. You feel me? If you don't want to do all of that,
right,
and you just want to be entertained, because
that's
something Mayweather taught me too. Like, this is entertainment. At the end of the day, you feel me? Like, this is entertainment. Mm-hmm. And so I see why he's fighting Logan Paul, Jake Paul, whichever one it is. You're like, all right, forget about it. Easy decision. We know what's gonna happen, but everybody's still gonna tune in and buy the pay-per-views. Same thing with Conor McGregor. We all knew that Mayweather was gonna win that fight, but you still tuned in to see which round he wins in. So. But like we said, it's a percentage that it overshadows the whole.
Yeah, and it's perception, right? It's like
that's people's
a lot of boxing purists, hip hop purists. They get mad at these things that pop up like that, and I look at the benefits of it. I'm like, yo, you really can make your own shit.
And that's all purists. The football purists, right, the basketball players that say this era is. The football players that say this era is not the same. And
yeah, that's never going to end.
One thing we know is everything is going to be changed. Some things, anything, To me, everything invented it got both sides, pros and cons. The remote control came out. Okay, people don't gotta get up to change the TV, but people are going to be lazy naturally. This is just natural, you know. So social media has its pros. Anybody can blow up. Now, everybody's not going to blow up, and that's the problem. Everybody think they're going to blow up. But yes, anybody can blow up, but that's also the hindrance. When there's no barrier to entry, brother, we could wake up right now and say, you know, somebody could wake up today and say, I want to be a rapper. And do the social media game. I'm not saying he's going to blow, but guess what? He's a rapper. He got music on the tube, you know, so there's no barrier to entry, which is a good and a bad thing. And to me, why I love hip-hop, because I know these people, the majority of them, not all of them, is living the life I'm living. You know, like, and nobody wants to be there for the rest of their life. So if you can get out of there, I don't care if people think you whack, you're not good, you're this. Man, I respect it. Because I know everybody's goal, and let me not say everybody, because I done seen people that want to stay, and to each his own. But a lot of people's goals is to get out of there. And when you get out of there, I got no choice but to respect it. I'm glad the stuff they about to do with the college basketball players. You know, like, I just seen Master P said his son is probably about to sign a $2.5 million apparel deal. And you already know you couldn't make $1 in college before.
Yeah.
But, you know, now they seeing like, hold on, we're either going to lose these players or cater to them. And I understand they fight too, why you shouldn't pay college players, but y'all can't make all the money. So we can't pay them, but y'all can make all the money. March Madness is, what, a $50 or $100 million process. And the kids get nothing? Can't be like that. So when things start changing, of course there's going to be cons. You feel me? Like, what about the lacrosse team? What about and that's what I understood. Like, I don't just look at it my way. Like, when you see that commercial that said there's 400,000 student athletes, how do you pay all of them? How do you determine what to pay all of them? Y'all got to figure that out. But these people got to get paid.
Without a doubt.
So y'all got to figure that out. I understand how we're going to, because some schools, let's say Duke, the basketball team makes the money over there. The football team is not good. But now the star football player, he wants bread too, whether we good or not. So they'll figure that out. But to say we're not giving people no money,
yeah, I think that changes.
bugged out. Yeah, that's bugged out.
Yeah, I think that changes.
I
think that inevitably changes, and it has to change.
And that's a change for the better. That's a change for the better. You're either going to lose them to overseas, lose them to the NBA league, and the smartest dude I've seen, what The Rock is working on right now, that football league, I think that's going to be huge. I think it's going to be huger than Vince McMahon's XFL. Why? Because of these political climates. These political climates is...
What's The Rock doing exactly?
He just bought XFL.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, we're going to keep it quiet because I think his plan is going to be the alternate to the NFL. Everybody can't make the NFL anyway. Then once you start getting star players from over there, you know.
Yeah, and I think the Rock is well liked, and he, you know, he just has a better rapport connection with those guys. I
Keep saying he's going to run for president. What do you think? He'll win? You think he'll win if he ran for president?
Quite possibly.
I think so too. He's too well liked, man.
Yeah, and he also
now it's not about what your schooling, none of that.
Yeah, he embodies a very positive, direct approach to life, which, you know, is relatable to me. You know, but I know him. Listen, I know him as an actor, wrestler, and workout fanatic. That's all I know. Like, I don't know his politics.
Well, I don't know his business.
I don't
naturally,
know.
He must be a good businessman.
Absolutely.
One of the top paid actors over there. But it would be something good to see. I feel like how we going as far as politics, everybody's going to start running. The door's open.
Yeah. You know, the political climate is very draining to me. I like that. Yo, you know, I saw an interview with True Life with Fat Joe.
The other day, I caught it.
Yeah, man. And I got to say, there's something I like to, you know, obviously, when I hear a story about anyone from the Lower East Side, that's our hood, right?
Right, you feel it.
Yeah,
attached.
you know, I just I automatically like root for them, right? And you know, I just you know the intricate details I'm not aware of, but what I look at and what I feel, the positive nature of which True Life was talking about, him missing his family while he was locked down, and you can you know, you can internalize that. I can only imagine that. It just seems so honest and real, and you know, whether you agree with someone's choices or you know you have preconceived notions. I definitely felt there was empathy, remorse, and just real. It felt very human, you know. And it was no tough guy shit. It was just like a person talking about getting caught up in something. And you know, just being grateful for the now. And I think we need more of that. You know, in a time, and I just using him as an example because he's a rapper from the Lower East Side. We both know of him. You probably know him personally. I don't know him personally. And it's just, that's refreshing to me. And I like to see people who look, walk, smell like us be open and honest like that. It's refreshing to me.
That was a good interview to watch because I always say thank you to Jay-Z. Not saying something would have happened to me, but the only reason I don't go out with them that night is because Hov performed at Summer Jams and my energy was, I had no energy to go clubbing that night. So when they like, yo, we out, I'm like, I told my brother, yo, you could go. I'm going home. I'm tired. You know, so I'm happy that Summer Jams was that active. Not saying I would have got caught in anything, but I definitely would have been there with those guys. Those are my guys.
Right.
You know, so little things like that, like me saying I'm tired. I miss, like you say, you don't even want your name in certain things. You know, like if that's what you did, then okay, you stamp it. But when you didn't do it, certain things you don't even want your name associated with. You know, and those are one of those things. You know?
Yeah, those are you know, then you look back at something like that in retrospect, it's like it's such nonsense.
You
right?
understand? We humans, so I'ma empathize with both sides. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. I don't want nobody losing their life. Nobody. You understand? Not unless you bothering me and mine. So when you hear about them and then being from the Lower East Side, you know both sides. It's just a lose-lose. That's why anytime I could dead problems down there, I dead them. You can call me what you want.
Yeah, I'm sensitive towards shit like that. I don't like, you know, and listen, I participate in a violent sport. I love boxing. I sparred and, you know, but that's the extent of what I tolerate violence. When I see motherfuckers hurting and killing each other, like, especially on some street shit, it bothers me. When I hear about it, when I look back, you know, at the age I'm at now and all the people that got killed, I don't, none of them are valid enough reasons. You know, like I can never say, yeah, I get it. You know, it's all ego-driven nonsense, and it's always, young. And, you know, the slaughtering of our own people is so fucking whack to me, you know?
That's when I can't, and I was in the lifestyle, so, but I can't understand it. Like, I watched the news with the wife, and you like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
Kids, straight bullets. Old ladies. You like, yo, what's...
Do you feel like it's worse now in the lower?
No. In the LES, no. Around the city, maybe.
Okay.
But in the Lower East Side, honestly, and you don't want to jinx stuff, we had some peaceful summers. Hopefully we can have another peaceful summer. You understand what I'm saying? So for some strange reason, that LES has been real good, quiet. I guess people are embarking on new opportunities. But you gotta understand, we had no summer last year. So was it quiet because of that? But then you could say no because you see in Brooklyn, they still going crazy. In the Bronx, they still... But, you know, luckily for us, and that's because it's so small, you are 2 degrees away from somebody over there. If you really calm down right there and then, you know somebody that knows that person. I done deaded many of problems, and I was glad to dead those problems. Not all bad came from that street life. The ability to dead problems and shake hands, you know, like I tell people, I shook a lot of hands growing up that became beneficial.
We ain't doing that shit anymore. For COVID, it's gonna be like this now.
Right, you gotta elbow somebody. But those handshakes may have stopped the problem 5 years from now, See, the boys club is not there where a bunch of different neighborhoods is like this, where you could say, oh, nah, I know his brother from up the hill, or I know his cousin. There's no neutral place for everybody to just be. So the kids in the Ave don't know the kids up the hill, vice versa. That's where the problems start coming from. There's nobody to mediate. Before, there was a lot of mediators. There was, I know your cousin, I know your aunt. We can't have problems. Ain't no more of that. But, you know, not as much walking around, and I don't know if that's a good thing for these kids or a bad thing, to not be able to go to the hill or not be able to go to the Ave.
Yeah, it
But
really
if
is
it's
like
gonna
foreign
keep
land.
problems away, then I guess that works out for everybody.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know either.
Right? I mean, to me, if that's going to stop problems, like, why even walk that way to catch a problem? Some of us know, even when I was young, I knew if we walk over here, it's happening. And we still would do it. I would catch myself on blocks 12, 2 in the morning. What am I doing out here? I know better than to be out here. But, you know, ego, you know, confidence.
Yeah, a little bit of liquor,
No, right,
you know, a little
liquor.
saucy.
Ain't nobody bothering me. And a lot of these kids walk with that mentality. That ain't nobody bothering me mentality.
Your brain, I remember from like the age of 15 to like 21, your brain is not fully developed. So you're very impressionable. You know, you're a young man, so your testosterone is up. You pepper that in with a little bit of Hennessy, a little brown liquor.
Girls around.
Yeah, man. And it you know, it could fuck shit up. You know, bad decisions are made. And that's why I think the earlier you could get more of an understanding of who you are, or right and wrong, even though that could be swayed, I think the better we are. And I always, you know, looking at like, what is the responsibility of me now is to pass that on to my daughter or young people, because I think that leaves the biggest impression. I can ask, you know, that it begs the question, is it movies? Is it entertainment? Is our friends? I think it's our immediate upbringing. What do you think? That leaves the impression?
What I will say, all right, is it music? Is it movies? It's the immediate upbringing.
I agree.
I seen Scarface. It didn't make me go start hustling. I was already hustling. It just made me say I'm going to hustle harder. The music that we would ride out to, the rapper didn't say, oh, we going to, you know, oh, because Jeezy said this, we going to do that. No, this is the soundtrack we want to listen to go put the work in.
Right, and that, you know what I mean? The work was being done, and that's a recording of the time.
Right, the work is going down regardless who we listening to.
Yeah, granted, it could, you know, get you up a little bit like, ooh, yeah, you know, it could do a little bit of that shit, but it doesn't act as the main motivator to it. It is the
like,
immediate
let's go with the
upbringing.
immediate upbringing, and we're going to reverse it, right? These people were sicking dogs on people that had on suits in the 60s. Because their immediate upbringing said these blacks are no good. Forget that they got on suits and they marching and some just came out of church. Our immediate upbringing don't see that. They blacks and they no good. So it's to me, I look at those as cop-outs when I hear it on either side. And I say hip-hop never cops to it, but they always having to defend themselves. So they say, you know, they're going to ask, y'all don't say nothing about these movies. Why is it always on music to that? And to me, it ain't none of that. Ain't no kid, or I think, because I was out there, we didn't say put on Tupac and we going to, right. No, we already going to do something. We just going to listen to Pac while we going to do it. So I don't, what was most impressionable on me? Watching those big time drug dealers in front of my building. Not the ones in the movie. It was these dudes right here that's pulling out big knots. And I'm like, oh, wow. You know, that had a big effect on me growing up. I knew 3 millionaires growing up from a kid to get into that lifestyle.
That's wild. When you guys got pinched, it was all like a sweep? It was that
sweep.
kind?
It was 13 of us.
Dad, I remember sweeps like that were like happening in abundance.
It was an investigation. Like, we didn't know.
They had your faces like pinned on the wall type shit.
Movie stuff. Movie shit.
Yeah.
Stuff I couldn't believe.
Yeah, I remember the
videos, phone calls. And you couldn't believe it. Now, we seen them a few times. We just didn't know it was them. You know, like, we live across the street from the precinct. So we always expecting to get some type of heat. Hello, we out here doing the wrong thing. Precinct's right there. That goes hand in hand. We didn't know this time around that was the feds this time around. We thinking it's the regular undercovers and, you know, so. But even those, for me, I don't dwell on too much stuff. I don't regret too many things. I took it, I learned, and that's the best thing you better do. You either better learn and know what not to do, because if I do it again, I don't even need a lawyer no more. God forbid I was to get arrested. I don't need a lawyer. The first time around I needed a lawyer was foreign language.
Well, you feel like you're savvy enough to understand?
It was foreign language to you, what the words they're using. Criminal,
right.
B1C, B1A, conspiracies, 841. You like, what is this? Now because like they say, when you don't know, that's on you. Even though you're still supposed to know, but you didn't know, okay. I get caught again, I know. I know how y'all playing. So I'll be able to go to my lawyer like, you know what, yo, bro, give me 10 years. Go tell them I'll take 10. You don't got to do nothing. Just tell them I want 10 years. Because now you know how they playing. You know, so once you know, you can't say you don't know no more. I know how they playing. I decide to go back outside in them streets. There's no more I didn't know. Get ready to go sit down for 10, 15 years. You get bothered. You bother them people again.
Yeah, no, you have
And that's something I had to learn too. This all comes with growing up. Guess what that policeman is doing? His job. You don't even see it like that. I'm just looking at it like, yo, why they bothering me? That man's doing his job. When he wake up, leave the house, his job is to catch criminals. That's his job. And now you don't even look at them. I just know we on we on opposite sides of this war on drugs. Because if there's a war on drugs, there has to be an enemy. You feel me? So I was their enemy. Point blank, period. It don't get no better than that. You are the enemy. War on drugs. You're on opposite sides. You the enemy. And you know, but this comes from, like I said, when I was in it, I didn't see it as no wrong. When you removed from it, and you still don't even see it as wrong because I seen what prescribed Oxycontin did to people. You understand? And this is what bothers a lot of people in the lifestyle. They seeing what prescribed oxys is doing, Percocets are doing, but this is totally legal.
Yeah.
You know, so that be why some people like, nah, I'm not stopping. You feel me? Like
that's they kind of rationalize it that way.
Justify
but it's true.
But
I
the
mean,
truth
the
is
pharmaceutical company is a multi-billion-dollar industry that
Oxycontin ravished the country.
Absolutely. And if you couldn't get that shit, you were doing heroin. And we see evidence of that.
The Sackers worth $9 billion, the guys that own the Oxycontin companies. Billions. Not a worry in the world. Not a worry in the world. Oxycontin destroyed the country. Nobody's going to do no time. Which is, it bugs people out in that lifestyle. Even with the bud. Y'all put people away for years.
That conversation is said, right? Like, look at what these pharmaceutical companies are doing, you know, like, and that's the way it rationalizes.
They know it.
Yeah.
These people are, come on, these people are not. But as long as you can get legal prescriptions and
yeah, absolutely. No one's they're hip to it.
But to each his own, that don't mean engage in it. Because, you know, I tell people all the time, me and my little brother lived in the same house. It's just when we came outside, I went this way, he went that way. That's why his path to where he's at, straight path. Straight out of high school, straight to college, straight to corporate America. We lived in the same house. Whatever he was taught and raised with, I was raised and taught those same things. And that's why it comes down to decision making. When we were talking about the kids and decision making, I say you put as many decisions on them early as you possibly can. Because that's what it came down to. Did I make the right decisions when I left upstairs or didn't I? And I didn't make the right decisions. You know? That's what I teach my daughter about. And I don't give it to her soft. I give it to her raw. I give it to her to let her know me and mommy's dying one day. You're only child. Get it together. Angie, that's 5, 6, 7 years old. She's liable to die. And I'm tired. You're only child. I don't got time to play with her. I don't got time to play with my nephews and them. I don't got time. When I see them on social media too caught up in, language, I'm like, yo, okay, I can't deal with you. Because your decisions right now is not telling me you want to make it to the NBA. You saying I want to play basketball, but what you posted is not saying that.
Yeah, we could get really we could get caught up. I could get caught up as a parent looking at a kid being a kid, but I have to remove like my daughter from that physical device because, man, that shit is addicting.
I mean, I guess it was cool when they used to just watch other kids play with toys, but now the internet, they got, like my daughter used to love watching other kids play with their toys.
Yeah, I know. And
what's up with y'all?
Yeah, it's weird, right? You're the second person who I spoke to this week who was like, yeah, I can't have my kid watching other kids play with toys. Like, you play with the fucking toy.
Right, you got a bunch of who we bought all these toys for.
That's funny. There's something that's intriguing about it to them.
Tells me about all these little families in Denver. I'm like,
yeah. I do believe it's harmless, but you want to keep them engaged in other activities as well. It's who the fuck knows? There's always going to be something that we could feel like require a little more attention or fixing. But we don't have it figured out, man. Parenting is a different. It's my first time doing it. I'll probably
it's
be doing
something
it.
that can be figured out. Why we done seen people with horrible parents become the best person ever?
Yeah.
And people with the best parents go the opposite route. So that's why I always tell people I don't do too much advising people on how they raise their child or chastising. Whatever you feel is best for your child. That's how I feel people are making decisions. They're doing what they feel, getting the COVID shot or not getting it. Some people are making what they feel is best for their family. Yeah. Like, I can't worry about other families.
Yeah, you can't become too fixated with how other people do it. But, there is right and wrong. When it comes to those decisions we were just talking about, I don't think there's a right or wrong. But I'm just talking about.
I think there's wrong. I don't think there's no right. I think there's wrong.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't think there's right ways, but there are wrong ways. Going to cop, work with your daughter. That's wrong.
Right.
You feel me?
Without a doubt.
So there's certain things that we know are straight wrong, but for me to say, oh damn, he's raising this kid the right way. What's the right way? Church? We done seen what they did to the kids. So you feel me? Some kids is probably mad at their parents for sending them to the church for that to happen to them. So the parent thought they was doing good. All right, my kid's going off the cab with the church and.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a balance because too much church, man, that turns somebody out. They'll be like,
man.
fuck.
To me, that was one of the most horrible investigations.
Yeah, some of the kids I used to knock out. I used to live in Baruch. Some of the dudes who knocked on my fucking door on Sunday mornings with the little fucking outfits on, those are the hardest criminals. I'm like, I remember that motherfucker. That motherfucker.
So that's probably my main aspect of raising kids. There's wrong ways. I don't feel there's a right way.
Yeah.
Oh, I sent my kid to Harvard. It still became nothing. You feel me? Oh, my kid went to BMCC, became something.
Absolutely, you're right.
There are wrong ways. To me, I feel nobody got it right. Like, we all just figuring it out. Some people doing better than others to others. Because it's all how you feel. Like, I know I got the wife, I got the daughters, I'm out the way. You feel me? I don't bother nobody. I'm all right.
Yeah, that's a I like that perspective. I like that way of thinking. I think it's a healthy way of thinking. I think you got a very healthy way of looking at this world and embracing it. And I think anyone who listens to it, who listens to you say that, will be affected the same way because you saying that, you simplify it, but it makes so much sense.
And that's coming from the wrong side, though. When I've seen the worst of the worst so-called to people. But I've also seen them same people that might be the worst to you go all out for the kid. You feel me? I know people addicted that they're not playing with their babies. Period. And when I say addicted, like I said, everybody's not out here begging for money. You see the neighborhood how they live. I'm not in the projects. Everybody over there is working. And so things like that normalized it. Nobody looks at nobody bad. And that's what made it easier now for those that are my age that's engaging in that lifestyle of using. Because we just didn't see it as taboo. Certain places that is taboo.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Certain neighborhoods welcome it. Not welcome it, but it's just not being disrespected. When the customers are not being disrespected, then they feel a way about themselves. So they're going to come over here carrying themselves a certain way, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. Before we close this out, I want to know who MFD is. We touched on it in the beginning, but I found it interesting when we spoke about it.
We'll break it down. We'll get in. Coming out of prison, I had a homegirl I grew up with. Her grandpa passed away, and he painted. He wasn't famous, never was commissioned anywhere. You know, that was his hobby. He painted. He passed away. They had to move out his apartment. She kept a lot of the paintings and the sculptures and, you know, kept a lot of the items. And, you know, then she had a child, so, you know, to take up less space, they had to start throwing these, you know, a lot of the stuff away. I told her to give me a stack of the paintings. She probably gave me about 150 paintings. And they was in my house doing nothing for like 3 years. I had these paintings since like 2017. But I knew they was something. You feel me? I knew not to just...
You felt something from the work.
Throw them somewhere where they could get damaged. Keep them somewhere...
You had them shits wrapped up, probably.
They wrap. So I knew to keep them somewhere cool. And then, you know... So now, you know, I'm watching different YouTubers and influencers, and they're like, you know, you can start a clothing line. And I'm looking at different things to do to start embarking on my entrepreneur career. So, and, you know, I studied a couple of dudes for like 6 months, 9 months. And then I remember, all right, I'm telling everybody, like, yo, I'm going to get these shirts with these paintings on it. And then it just became for real. And that's one thing I want to tell everybody.
The acronym, that was his full
MFD.
MFD?
That's his name, Mark F. Dunham.
Mark F. Dunham.
So that's why to me...
Did he grow up on the Lower East Side?
His paintings say everything. He was from the East Village.
Wow.
So that's why it's going to be dope when I start putting out that body of work.
I like that because that tells a story. It tells a story as, you know, as him as an artist, and you kind of immortalizing that by, you know,
and it's good, 'cause like I said, a lot of the works got thrown away. So at least we will be able to put them out, you know, and we lost, you know, he had wrote a book. I wish we would have been able to keep that just to see what he written about, because his life was serious to why he's not close with the family, why they even thought about throwing it out. You understand what I'm saying? So I would have loved to have read that book to see what he was talking about. But yeah, he was from the East Village, and so then I started looking at these paintings, and I'm like, yo, this is it right here. I could start the company with these paintings. And everything is slowly but surely, naturally. That's why I love Jay-Z. Everybody could tell you how to do it. They never did it. Now, that don't mean you're not going to get advice from places. But, you know, you'll have people like, yo, fool, you need a jean jacket. You need windbreakers. You need joggers. You need... Anybody out there starting a company, don't procrastinate, but move at your own pace. You know, like, there's people that probably already got their website. I don't have mine yet. Am I discouraged? No. Because everything is going to come with timing. And that's something I've been studying this week, like timing.
What a story Jay-Z has made of himself. When we first started listening to him, I mean, one thing about Jay early on, he was always super consistent with his language of rap. It was like a swagger rap. The motherfucker would sound like he was talking to you, you know? He was witty, and then he really applied what he learned in the streets in a business sense.
To see what Hov did.
And what I really appreciate about him is that he's doing some real noble shit. It could be rumors, but I heard that he went out of tax trouble. I heard that he bought the publishing to DMX's
DMX
music.
publishing.
Yeah, and gave it to the kids.
I fact checked that. That one wasn't true, but Hove do so much
Wait,
quietly.
The Khalid Browder documentary.
That was amazing.
Because, Khalid Browder is a story, and we're going to close this out soon.
Sad story.
It's a sad story, but how many motherfuckers, that's a cornerstone of
Browder's.
America that people forget about. That's the forgotten soul that's in abundance. Like, it's one story, but it makes up a lot of the prison system.
Right, and you gotta understand, I'm a hardened criminal. So watching this stuff, I'm not supposed to react to this but you empathize, right? Because when I was in there, I was there for something I did. It ain't no looking up.
Yeah,
like
Khalid
why I'm here.
Browder supposedly stole the backpack. He didn't have the bail money to get him out. He was shuffled down in and out the system
shit was
for
sad,
5
man.
years in the hole, getting beat up. He probably had
For
pre-existing
a stolen
bag that they never convicted him of. It was allegedly he stole a bag, and he ends up killing himself.
Killing his own self.
So if anyone hasn't heard about the Khalid Browder story, I highly recommend tuning in because it's an important story that needs to be shared. But Jay-Z produced that.
Which was dope.
And you think if Jay-Z was still, involved in the drug life and music, would be able to reach those heights? Of course not.
No.
So it goes back.
You gotta be removed to see those stories.
Right.
Because when you in them, you immune to them. Like what he said in Pay the Fool, niggas die every day, you get so immune to it.
The fact they say niggas die every day, B.
Every day. So you get immune to it. But when you remove from it, the crowd here around, homicides ain't normal.
Right. And, something is to be said about utilizing all your senses, your eyes, your ears, your heart, your smell, your taste. That's all to be utilized. Those things are not supposed to be muffled because we've seen some traumatic shit. No. We are made up of all these things. Our legs and our limbs. We're supposed to use them all. So when we remove that because, or they're dulled because of a traumatic experience or by the way we now perceive the world, those are shortcomings and we have to do better to be, full.
What I will say as we close out, I do see the neighborhoods getting better. I see more business savvy people. I see more entrepreneurs. Because that's the only way the neighborhood is going to get better. We ain't going to work our way out of poverty. That's not going to happen. The more people start business, like they said, the biggest employer of black people is who? The government. That has to change. You feel me? Once it gets to black people being the biggest employers of black people, and when I say black, I mean my people's in there. I don't got time to say black.
Yeah, black,
we
brown.
in the projects. Like being in New York, we already know. Like New York has probably got the craziest dynamic of Hispanics and blacks. And I'll tell people this because of prison. Brother, in certain prisons, your brother could be black. Y'all can't sit together. I'm talking about that could be your brother. You Spanish, he's black, y'all gotta sit at opposite tables. That's just how it goes. So, only in New York, you're going to be like, but no, I fuck with the blacks heavy because in Tri-State, we like that with each other. But it ain't like that around the country. You feel me? So jail shows you true dynamics. Like one of my partners that was with me from my block, my co-defendant, he's on the case with me, Puerto Rican. And we like this. If it go down with anybody, with blacks, I'm with him. If it go down with Spanish, he's with me. But that's only like a New York thing, a East Coast thing. It's not really like that around the country. And that's where a lot of the confusion comes in. Because when people hear people speak about Hispanics or Latin, only New York people know that Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, blacks, they family. Like, they family. There's no way around it. I got nieces, nephews, aunties, but as you move middle of the country, West Coast is not like that. And that's where the language gets messed up.
Interesting, yeah. That is interesting. Yeah, I mean, New York is so diverse and kind of everything is intertwined.
We so on top of each other that even let's say when they first did started coming, okay, so let's say the second time people came, the 60s when they passed the legal the immigration laws. Even if you didn't want to be friends with that person, hello, you live 20E, I live 20F. If we ain't gonna be friends, our kids are gonna be. This is inevitable. And to me, and that's why last thing, hip hop, I love it. To me, hip hop has been one of the biggest bridges in race relations. I haven't seen
it's
no
music, man.
other area of life bring people together. Probably sports also, but hip hop brings people together.
Music-wise, you have any workout?
Not yet. I was actually with a few producers yesterday, so we actually about to start getting back active. I'm trying to do the management thing, help a couple of young kids. Like I said,
because
I got friends that they kids rap now. So let me give them the same. I didn't make it because of me, and like I always tell people.
But you did as
I
a
did a
young
lot.
kid.
I went on tour, radio, magazines, music. You know, I didn't make it. Like I said, I was in the streets.
Yeah, you were.
I couldn't
involved.
get this foot. You know, like I told somebody, or I said on one of my songs, you know that it's true. And once you hear your mom's broke, I can't go write a rhyme. It's time to grind coke. You feel me? Like my mother's broke, I'm gonna go write a rhyme. And,
is any of that work still out? Any of your earlier work?
If anybody want to check,
because I'm interested.
I dropped on this. I came out on the album, legendary album, PMD from EPMD.
Dope.
He put out an album in about 04, 05 and let me get on like 4 songs on there.
Word.
If you ever got a chance to check it out, it's called PMD, The
And
Awakening.
what was the alias you were under?
Don Fuquan.
Don
So you're going to
Fuquan.
already see it like, all right.
That's what's up, man. I didn't know that. Is there anything else? Because I'll go through it. That's going to be fun for me.
Like that's out. And it was a fun project, but a lot of stuff be hard to find out
because it was on CDs and shit like that.
Man, you know how much music I lost?
Oh man, that'd be interesting. That'd be like
I wish I could find it.
There's no way you can find it.
Not
because I think you could actually get like a
to
converter.
go back to those studios. I can't find those.
Oh, that's where they're at. You don't
producers.
have any like copies on your own.
I had a few of my good peoples done gave them to me. I didn't misplace them. But somebody, or like I always
Those
tell
are little
myself,
artifacts, man.
somebody
It's
has
peppered
that
around
music.
the city. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
if anybody want to check out the PMD, The Awakening, I'm on 4 songs in that album. I did a song with
because you have a very distinctive
Dre
voice,
from,
man.
I mean, Crazy Drazy from Das Effect. So
that's what's
you know,
up, man.
I did songs. My dude DJ Honda out of China. I mean, out of Japan.
I remember DJ Honda.
Yeah, that's my dude. He had the studio on Orchard.
Wow. Well, what a great time, Fu. I appreciate your time,
I can't
brother.
wait to come back, hit a couple of milestones, and come do it again.
Yo, you're always welcome, and we're definitely doing it again.
Yes.
My man Fuquan Jones,
Yes.
LES
Mr.
Stand Up.
Wonderful.
Please subscribe,
Is
like,
MFD.
yeah, comment, all that good stuff. And it's MFD, the clothing line, and I'm gonna dig in the archives for the music.
Right, PMD, The Awakening.
That's
Go check out those 4 songs.
That is dope. I can't wait to do that.
Yes.
All right, peace. We
Peace.
out.